Okay, basically this is how I make the bones. What this is just a standard little PVC pipe fitting, 3/4 inch. And I just hit it on my sander to rough it up, and I'll show you where we go from there. It just has a rough texture right now, and what I do is just put little notches in it by using the top of the belt sander. So once the edges are all roughed up, I don't know if you can see that or not, I will show you. I'll move my sander off my table and I'll show you what we have next. Okay, now what we do is make sure you got gloves and you need any kind of comb. This I got at Walmart. Surprisingly, it was on clearance for like 98 cents and it works perfect. Cheapy little Harbor Freight heat gun, and all you do is you take your sanded little PVC and heat up the ends, and I'll show you what we do next. Definitely use your gloves on this. I did my first couple vertebrae without a glove and it was fine, except one time I just wasn't paying attention for half a second and moved it across my finger for just a minute and almost got a burn. So you can see it's kind of wobbling a little bit, so it should be hot enough. So I just push it down on here. And don't make it exactly straight because most bones aren't, and it'll look just like a thread spindle if you make it too perfect. So I usually push it a little bit off to the side, let it cool for a minute. And once it sets up, you can do this if you have water too. It'll help cool it a lot faster. And that's kind of how this works. Let me make sure it's in frame. But yep, and I'll do the other side here in just a sec. And then I'll show you how I do a little adjustments to make it look a little bit more like bone. Okay, you can see how it got soft right there. What I will do is I'll find the biggest bend on this side and I'll match it. So we got the big bend on this side, I'll push it and then actually curve it towards me. And by doing that, I just put a little bend in this vertebrae and that leaves the backbone able to get a little bit more curve into it. And that's still a little soft, so we'll let it set up a little bit more. it does stick to it, it'll just pop right off. It's just, there you go. So now you can see a little bit more of a curve. I'll see if I can get close in there. Now the final thing I do to make the vertebrae look like bone, or make the PVC look like bone is porous. So you have to poke little holes in here. I tried with a little micro drill on my Dremel, and that looked too uniform and fake. I tried using it with an X-Acto knife to make little slits. That didn't work either. What I found worked the best was I had this old beat up drywall screw. I just wrapped it with duct tape because it kept chewing up my hands. You can do this part without a glove once this cools down. And all I do is poke it in there at random. And it's a little easier when it's soft, like this. But you can do it after it hardens without any problems. And you don't want any patterns, just randomly poke it. But, and we'll go through and we'll touch this up a little bit with hand sanding. But you'll see, actually you can see a little bit when I rub my dirty gloves on there. See, it makes the notches from the rough sandpaper stick out, so it makes it look like worn bone. And when we black wash this, you'll see it fills in all the little dots. And the nice thing about that is you can kind of say, okay, I'm starting to get a pattern, I'm getting a straight line here, so you can tweak it a little bit and go from there.